Water podcast, fueled by Papa's Pilar rum. Remind you never to be a spectator. That's how we're going to start.
Jump in.
The name of it's going to be called
Yeah, so today we have Krissy Wejebe with this. Hopefully we're going to get a lot more stories like that today, right? Carolyn Stash and Gina Ciccolini. Yeah, we're rolling. Yeah, for sure. Cool. We're on record, baby.
You said my name right.
I did. Well, I wrote it down phonetically. So, Ciccolini. So, yeah. So, I'm your host, Dennis Friel, and we are coming to you from the Connected by Water studio in Pompano Beach, Florida. We are a Waypoint-hosted podcast, and you can find us there or also watch, listen, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Hit that like button, and please, we would love to hear from you in the comments or by email at sales@connectedbywater.com. But before we begin, we would like to announce this week's Starbright Solutions do-gooder, which is none other than Starbright's very own Turner Berwick. So Turner was recently in Tennessee hunting, and in the middle of nowhere, he found trash. And so rather than say, that's not my job, he took it upon himself to clean it up and send Starbright's conservation director, Corey Redwine, a video. And it's that sort of story that helps us understand that no job is too big or too small when it comes to conservation and preservation of our resources. So congrats to Turner for being this week's Starbright do-gooder. So good job, Turner.
Yay, Turner.
All right, so cool. So good job. And speaking of Corey Redwine, I spoke to Corey today.
Oh, no. What'd she say?
And she gave me a lot of juicy stories about her good friend, Krissy Wejebe. But I'm not going to get into that right now.
I think Corey would have more stories about my father than Corey would have about me.
They had a little of both. A little of both. They were in the middle of nowhere, Florida today. And they weren't getting very good reception. And Derek and I played phone tag about 17 times until we were finally able to connect. So the conversation wasn't as long as it probably could have been or should have been, but they shared a few good ones. So, yeah.
What does the middle of nowhere, Florida mean?
It's kind of like in the offshoots of Kissimmee, where no cell towers are. It's very bass friendly, right? So that's kind of where they were. Yeah. So all right. So listen, let's get into it.
Can I say one quick thing about Starbright?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, so I just want to do a shout out. They had an amazing captain who recently passed away. His name was Kevin Coate.
So happy that you're bringing this up.
He always wanted to take the pink ladies out, and he was going through his treatments. And we just want to do a shout out to his family because he was part of the Starbright family, and I've got goosebumps.
Absolutely.
I always called him. So I want to do a Papa's Pilar.
To
cheers
Kevin.
to Cappy. So cheers,
to Kevin.
Coat.
Thank you for Carolyn for doing that. So
of course.
So also shout out to our bartender that always brings it, Carlene.
What's happening?
Thank you, Carlene.
Thank you, ladies.
So we've been trying to get this podcast together for a while now, right? And we were originally going to come down to you, and the stars didn't align, didn't work out. But you are in town this weekend in Pompano to do an event, and it's a sleigh party.
Yep, the Spanish Fly Sleigh Party.
All right.
So the individuals over at Marine Maintenance Managers, they bought my dad's old 32 Seacraft.
Nice.
And he had hit me up on Instagram, and I'm kind of I guess you could say I'm old school in the sense where I'm usually Facebook, because I don't I am learning, but the handles and the hashtags and the threads and what's going on, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a new language.
Yeah, so Michael Krause had hit me up on Instagram, and 3 months later I checked it and I saw it, and he had said, hey, this is your dad's old 32 Seacraft. We completely redid it and blah, 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 blah. And I remember that boat to a T. And
you brought that with you today, right?
That is so cool. It is a fine fishing vessel.
Yeah, it is.
So we started going back and forth, and
Yanni,
he had
I'll
said,
hold it up here.
Krissy, we're not rich, but we have your dad's old boat. We definitely want to help you in some way. How can we help? And thought about it, and the folks over at Skinny Water Culture, they had done a Christmas event for us and raised funds for us, sent us the check. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. We need to have other people host events for us. So I said, Michael, why don't you guys host an event for us? He said, we can absolutely do that. So we started planning and everything. And, we've never done this before. And my crew is like, it's okay, we've done this before. So we can kind of show you the reins the first time around. And then Carolyn and her crew had came down and through a breast cancer survivors trip with the Krissy Wejebe Spanish Fly Memorial Foundation, and we were fishing, we were having a good time, and she says, oh snap, I know those guys. We live in Pompano. Let's help
mechanic, I said.
Yeah. And
She's always good like that.
myself, my boyfriend Chuck, my 2 boys, we're driving up here. We're on our way up from the Keys while these ladies and their whole crew are just
What do you need?
Right.
getting everything ready. And I think a lot of people don't understand how much work goes into these events, and everything from 6 months out to a couple days ahead of time.
Mhm.
And these ladies have been killing it the last week.
Mhm.
And I think it's just a true testament of like the full circle kind of lack of a better way of putting it, you scratch my back, I scratch yours kind of thing. Some of our biggest supporters are going to be the people that we made a fishing dream come true for. And, it's been 11 years and we've brought over 500 people out on the water now.
That's great.
And, a long time ago, I was a lost little puppy dog and had no idea what to do, what I was doing. I had got my plan was to work for my dad. I got my degree in film and video production. And that was my plan. I was going to help him. And then he died and everything changed. And we've done a lot of really good stuff and we have a leg to stand on now. So it's a lot, we have more experience and being able to say like, hey, this is what we've done. This is what we want to do. And this is who we've helped and they want to help us. I think, it's better than any Yelp review you could ask for.
For sure. For sure. I got to tell you one thing, all those great things that you say about these two, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, that's just like how they are wired. Like, and it, like you'd think I'd be used to it by now, but like they still just do things that just amaze me, like above and beyond.
Yeah.
Like all the time. It's just
They're
how their
hustlers,
motors
man.
run, and it really is, it's good to see.
Yeah.
It's good to see the connection here and
And
the
it's
support.
important to say that Gina and I both work full time, so we fit all this other stuff in the middle of the night, early
Yeah.
in the morning. We've been stapling up brochures. We've been asking for donations, whether it be the Pink Ladies.
Sticking brochures on people's cars.
And it's
Cars
not
and
glamour, and it's not the glamour stuff either. Like
Yeah.
it's the grunt work too that they've been doing, and these
But
women
we-
are
Well, 'cause
highly
that's what it
skilled in what
takes.
they do.
Yeah, that's what it takes at the end of the
The
day.
thing
Yeah.
is, we believe.
Yeah.
And if I don't believe in the mission of what you're doing, then I wouldn't have volunteered myself. And so I said the same thing to Carolyn. I love her foundation. I believe I'm 100% there. For yours, I'm 100% there because I believe in it. And your mission statement tells it all.
So let's talk about that mission statement. Elaborate on that.
So the mission of the Krissy Wejebe Spanish Fly Memorial Foundation is to honor his legacy by matching his passion for conservation, education, and making fishing dreams come true.
Nice.
So when we started, it was
I have
more
goosebumps, sorry.
it was
Good.
more
Goosebumps.
geared toward specifically making fishing dreams come true. My dad had worked with Make-A-Wish a lot, brought a lot of kids fishing, a lot of veterans, and a lot of the stuff he did was not televised. I think he only televised like 3 of I think he had around 8 Make-A-Wishes that he did. He did not televise everything that he did.
So I want to actually interject with one of our questions from the audience because
Sure.
it's related to that,
Okay.
right? And I don't mean to cut you off, but this will probably just help you elaborate
It's your
more,
show, Dan.
right?
Dennis.
Hey, it's your world. We're just living in it, pal.
He asked for hard questions.
So Tracy Letome, right? Good friend of ours here, said, "Can Krissy elaborate on the Legacy Mentorship Program, pairing local kids in with local guides to give them the tools and knowledge needed to responsibly, safely, and ethically enjoy our local fisheries?" Her father, Jose, has always given back to charities like Make-A-Wish Foundation, like Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, the Mark House, Wounded Warriors, Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and many others. The charitable work seen on his television series Spanish Fly documented only a small portion of his generosity. Is this how the Jose Wejebe Memorial Foundation came to be? And that was her question. I know it's a long, loaded question.
It's a great one.
Don't read ahead.
It's a good question. So, on the mentorship program and how that came to be. So, I feel like this is a two-parted question. Like,
Okay.
do we publicize everything that we do?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is no. We work with Wesley House a lot, which is the adoption and foster care in the state of Florida is privatized.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to nonprofit agencies to run the show for all this. And Wesley House is the organization in Monroe County, which is all of the Florida Keys. So the work that we do with Wesley House is very seldom advertised because some of these kids are in protective custody.
Like
They
for
can't
Privacy Act.
well, their parents can't know where they are. We've had some kids who are like part of witness protection.
So crazy.
So when we do some of those trips, and I've had donors ask me like, "Hey, Krissy, we haven't seen anything on Facebook for a while," and I'm like, "Dale, I can't put everything out there
privacy reasons.
for privacy."
Yeah.
Well, you don't want them. They have some people have, unfortunately, a POS mom or dad, and they can't know where that kid is, and so to blast it on Facebook to try and get more donations is not why we're here.
Right.
But that gives you a huge amount of respect because you are protecting someone's privacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about the safety of that individual. And, I know we're a public image, you're a public image, but when you have those children or adults that need to just lay low, they need to lay low. And you give them an opportunity to
do
just
that.
get out and fish or make a dream or just forget about something for 3 days. We forgot about the fact that we both have cancer. So
I think from a 30,000-foot view regarding Tracy's question, it might be better asked that your father supported so many organizations when he was alive. Do you feel like this is continuing his work?
Sure.
Yeah. So that from a 30,000-foot view, that might be the better way to ask it.
With the Legacy Mentorship Program, I can elaborate on that and tell you how it came to be. I have he's like my surrogate nephew. I've known him since the day he was born. He's 15 now. And he had called me and said, "Krissy, I found these juvenile tarpon. I found this little honey hole and I want to show you." And he was so proud of himself. And so he brought me over there. He showed me, and he was hooking them on treble hooks.
Because your father loved tarpon.
Yeah, my dad adored tarpon.
Yeah.
He would never pick a favorite.
That was his favorite.
He would never say so.
He did on his last show.
If he had to. Bryson hooks this tarpon, 'cause she's super happy, and he lets it go, and I'm like, "Brycey, buddy, you just killed that fish." And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "You can't, these fish are fragile. You have to, let me show you the right way to do it." So we showed him, here's the circle hooks. This is how you revive them. Blah. His family works well over 60 hours a week. You know, it's hard in the Keys. It's expensive. Even if you own your own home, the property taxes and the wind insurance can make you go broke. So, you know, do his guardians have the time to give him to say, this is how you properly fish? It's like, here, buddy, here's a fishing rod. Here's some bait. Get out of my hair and go outside. And it occurred to me, I was like, man, he just needs the proper education and the knowledge and the tools. So I started talking to some guides and kind of started asking around, and a lot of people, there was a lot of interest. And the thing about the Keys, if I grew up down there, if you don't embrace the water, you're going to get into trouble. There's nothing else to do. If you embrace the water, there will never be a dull day.
I've seen that so many times where kids that grow up there, and if they're not in the fishing or diving or doing anything like that, then they have nothing else to do to get wrapped up in drugs or the wrong crowd.
Yeah,
or
get
something
pregnant,
like,
and
right.
then yep. So
It happens so often down there.
So I started talking to our board and started talking to our guide community, and hey, what do you guys think? And a lot of guys latched right onto it. Like, yes, I do think this is a good idea. I do think, and it's not only just, okay, hey, let's go fishing. It's one day on the water, one day on land. This month, I'm going to teach you how to throw a cast net, and I want you to practice. And then when we go fishing, we're going to go get bait, and we're going to go look for tarpon or sailfish or whatever the case may be. So taking the tools that you learned on land and implementing them when you're on the water. Now, I will say that it has been quite the project, because in order to keep the kids safe, our captains safe, and the foundation safe, there's a lot of I guess you could say not so fun stuff that goes into, you know, the back end of everything. So like the background checks, the policies and procedures, the rules and regulations, you know, like all the agreements, you know, having, you know, there's never, unless if you're in a public space during the mentorship program, like at the park, that's fine. But if you're out on the boat, there has to be a parent or the volunteer. So all of that has been quite a cumbersome task. And one of our vice president, Joe Tripp, has been absolutely fantastic about taking the lead on a lot of that, with getting all that down on paper, because we're a tiny organization. I mean, it's me and one other person part-time. Besides that, it's just all of our fabulous volunteers that run everything from our, you know, Making Fishing Dreams Come True, our mentorship program, our cleanups, our disaster relief, and then our all of our events throughout the year. So
yeah, that's great
work.
that you're able to surround yourself with a good village. That's cool.
Yep.
Because it's needed. It's with doing the kind of work that you're doing. It's really needed,
Mm-hmm.
and it actually speaks volumes to the mission itself and the work that you guys are doing. That you can surround yourself with a village like that and have people help you move this, you know, kick this can down the road. That's great.
Well, the fact that people that want to help us too. I think, you know, I've worked really hard on making sure that we are, whether it's, you know, per the IRS or sponsorship fulfillments, that we are 110%. I'd rather give you more than give you less. Extremely transparent, because how embarrassing would it be to get audited and then be like, you've been taking this, and that? Like, absolutely not. That's not how I'm trying to run this.
Yeah.
But I have to share, if I might, because I know this is kind of informal, about our making our fishing dream come true. So Krissy said, "Come on down." So we had three girls in the car, headed south, coolers,
Four of
knapsacks, four of us. Tanya, myself, you.
And then,
Oh, Belinda couldn't go, and her husband has since
so it
passed
was
away.
just the three of us.
was just the
and
three
then,
of you.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. So,
And we came in and we yellowtail snapper fished. I never held Never
I
held
caught
it.
the biggest one.
Never. Oh, 24
Yeah, we
inch
know,
one.
Gina.
We know.
We know.
I never held a spear gun before. Now Gina is the most quiet fisher girl, woman, fisherman until she hooks up to something.
Angler.
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 And then all bets are off. She's from Jersey.
You don't mess with
Jersey
the Ciccolini,
mouth.
right?
Yeah,
Don't
don't
check-
mess with Ciccolini mouth.
Don't
Yeah.
check. There's things we couldn't even post on the internet.
What part of New Jersey are you from?
Well, I was born in Philadelphia,
Oh,
but
God.
raised in South Jersey.
Man, double trouble.
Double trouble.
Yeah.
She's
Alright.
a great angler, but she gets a little vocal. But
Yeah.
anyways, we had the most amazing. We fished for a day for yellowtail snapper with an
3 days.
amazing female captain. I think it was the only time you
Michelle.
did all
Michelle
girls.
Morris.
Michelle
amazing.
Morris.
Um,
Amazing.
We jumped in. I spearfished stuff. I just closed my eyes and hoped for the best.
So that's a horrible way to
I was
spearfish,
screaming
by
at
the way.
her, saying,
I wasn't in the
I don't
water.
want to be your dive buddy.
No,
Close my eyes and hope for the
Carolyn's
best.
out there, and she's spearfishing, right? She
I
has
hope
no
for the best.
freaking clue. I'm sorry, I'm
I'm like,
not
kapoink.
cursing, but not yet.
You're good.
So I said,
Can you swear?
Absolutely.
Carolyn,
100%.
okay,
Let her rip.
I
Oh,
won't
no.
do it.
I
I'm
jumped
like,
in the water.
Carolyn, there's a shark next to you.
She's doing this. I'm like,
and I'm doing sharky things, signs, you know, this thing on the
I'm
head.
doing this.
And
Caroline
she's
thinks she's
waving
singing
at
a
her.
Jimmy
She's
Buffett video over there. or
freaking-
something.
she's waving back at me, and I'm like, there's a shark.
I'm like, hi.
And it's one of those big ass ones. And so I'm on the boat going, oh my God, oh my God,
It
oh my
brushed
God.
against my leg.
And then it brushes across her leg. She turns around. She realizes it. She takes her spear and pokes it in the nose. And it runs away. And she swims backwards to me.
I'm doing this, not
and
knowing that's
I'm
a lobster
yelling
code.
at her, going, can I say the word?
Fuck.
Biatch. Like, you're not listening to me. And
I'm like, lobster?
Gina, time out.
She's tired.
Get
She
in
gets
the
worked
corner.
up. She gets worked up. We won't tell you about the nurse shark she caught.
Oh, my
then
God.
it's
pretty
the
intense.
same damn shark that went by her. I finally
No, we caught. That was when I was on the boat with
You
you
on the boat.
guys.
yes,
When
that
you
was
caught
a
that
different
nurse
day.
shark,
That's right.
she
Sorry.
caught like a 250-pound nurse shark. The thing was a log.
A log.
It was huge, and the things that were coming out of listen, I'm Cuban. Like, I can go crazy. I got a mouth on me. I got a temper. The things that were coming out of this little woman's mouth, I was like, ooh,
I'm like,
yeah. If you did
Yeah.
that to
Spear
that
him.
nurse shark,
Kill
that
him.
would hurt.
well, the captain of the boat would not do it. I said, cut him, spear him, shoot him, kill him.
We're not going to kill a
I'm not
nurse
using
shark.
the curse words that I used in between, the
But just
adjectives.
kill him.
So she made me bring that damn shark to the boat after 45 minutes.
To look her in the eye. Gina, looked her in the eye.
The damn shark went up, looked at her. She went down with her hand and went with her hand and yanked that thing right out of its mouth, and it swam away.
It's a nurse shark. They don't bother you.
Yes,
Oh.
they do.
She had a nurse, Michelle had a nurse shark bite. Anyways, but by the way, if you ever want to see the video off camera, we
They
can
will
show it to
bite you if they're scared of you.
Suck you. They suck you.
Well, no, they do. They will bite you.
They will bite you.
They
They'll bite
actually.
you. You're not gonna-
I think they actually do. They're like the most.
They'll
they
like
bite.
suck your hand in.
They bite the most people. No, they have teeth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They
They'll suck
have
your hand in, but
teeth,
that's where
and
the
they
teeth
will
Yeah.
are.
bite
Yeah.
you
Limb
if
over
they're
so-
if they're fearful.
I know. I've seen, and the thing about nurse sharks is they can turn completely around
Yeah.
and get you. I've seen them bite several people, and the problem with nurse sharks is that people think that they're these docile creatures, so then they mess with them.
Yeah,
And
that's
then- and
they
then you
lead,
get bit.
They lead the statistic for that reason because people.
So I think
think
it's just people
mess with
being
them more.
stupid.
So I
Yeah.
got a little
Right.
sidetracked.
Approach it.
So I just
Yeah.
want to tell you, you made all of our fishing dreams come true, and we went down there for 3 days. We had dinner with Krissy and her family, her boys. It was amazing, and we did some things. We went for a shark a ride out there in Key West, and it was amazing. So we came back so inspired to help you do anything you need help with, which is how we got here. So
Yeah.
you've got some followers.
So tomorrow night's event, I want to get into that a little bit, right?
Oh.
So we got this sleigh party that which my kids are totally
be
excited
epic.
to come, right? And I know that once this airs, it's already passed, but this is the first year
This is the first
that you're
year.
doing it,
Yep.
so it's going to happen again next year. So I just want to give people a little bit
Hopefully.
of back. It will.
100%.
I believe. So tomorrow night, I mean, there's going to be things like prizes and things that people can
So we're gonna
can
have
bid on and
Santa's
get.
gonna be there.
Yep.
We have a online auction. We have a in-person silent auction, raffles, a poker raffle. We got cornhole. Thank you,
Darts.
Gina.
What's the
Uh,
dress code? That's what I kind of
Whatever
Are
you
you dressing
want.
up?
Hey,
like
it's
Santa?
Pompano.
The
on.
dress code is
Airplane
pompano.
hanger.
Pompano
know,
dress
like-
code.
Pompano
It
hanger
basically
dress code.
means shorts and a performance shirt.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
much
much.
everyone.
Cover
probably
your-
wears.
Pretty much
Maybe take
anything I
take
ever
a
wear.
shower, cover your privates.
Right.
Yeah. So you got the clubhouse, which you have like sofas, you got a big screen TV, and back in the hangar we
You
got
can
some
get dressed up.
big industrial
But it's
fans that are going to be
Pompano.
there. We got some Christmas trees, we got cornhole, we got airplanes, we got some big jacked up Jeeps that are going to be there. I think we're bringing over we're going to move over a helicopter tomorrow, I think.
Yes.
We're selling like helicopter tickets for
Yeah.
scenic coastal
That's great.
rides, aerobatic
Yeah.
tickets.
I drove around in a
Um,
John Deere this afternoon.
Nice. So all these things are being done to raise money for the foundation, to support
Yes.
the foundation, which does a lot of good, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're establishing that for sure.
Of course.
And you also have another event. I think I heard this backyard party coming
Oh
up
gosh,
in March,
we
right?
have quite a few. So we
So
have.
tell me about all your events, because I don't want to just talk about this event. I just
Yeah.
want this event to just be an example of some of the things you do, because
Sure.
obviously it's going to air, it's going to be gone, people can't go to it anymore
So-
until next year. But
So
what
we
else do you
have we have the Spanish Fly Music Festival, January 28th in Ramrod Key.
Okay.
They're pointing at each other. Yes,
going.
You guys
We're
are gonna
going.
go. You can stay in my downstairs
Yeah, heck
mix
yeah.
up. My dad had a big love of music. He was an avid guitar. And he, everything from Stevie Ray Vaughan to, oh, geez, Santana. I mean, he was good.
hmm
Son of a bitch. He was good at everything. Like, if he wanted to do something, he was good at it.
So Derek told me many stories about that, how he would stay at their house and just like be up till like the wee hours of the
I
morning
know.
studying things and
Yeah.
doing things, and
Yeah.
he'd never stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like obsessed. If he was going to do something, he was, and I think part of, coming to America and being, Miami's completely different now than what it was when my dad got there. But it was extremely racist against Cubans when he got to Miami, and he knew whatever he did, he had to be 10 times better than the guy next to him. And he was, and he did. So that was always kind of like his mentality. It was like, okay, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to make sure I master it. And there's very few anglers out there that can say that they're just as good as, like fly fishing for permit as they are to sight casting for sailfish. And my dad could do it all. He really, even Flip Pallet has said there's very few fishermen out there that can do the offshore, do the reef, do the diving, do the fly fishing, and do it all well.
I want to get back to this.
And
right?
and I know I'm
no.
rambling.
I want to
so-
get back to this because I have a lot of things to say on the topic.
So-
but we do
so
have to
January
take we do have to take a special call right now of someone that wanted to be involved in the show.
Okay.
Okay, and we're going to hear from him right about now. Who's this?
Hey, I was just calling to say that your car warranty is now due, and I'm giving you a chance to renew right now.
Is my Medicaid up too, Mike?
Is
How you
Mike?
doing, Uncle Mike?
Is that extended warranty?
Yeah, your extended warranty, Krissy, on the whole Medicaid thing, you're still good.
Good.
Yeah,
You know,
ladies and gentlemen,
goodness.
Michael Myatt from Papa's Pilar Rum.
Beautiful.
Well, you know what is, I'm like you guys who are underneath the spotlight, the dun 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 on the Dennis Friel Connected by Water show. You like that? You like that voice, Dennis?
I like
You really ought
that.
to use that
Yes,
That's a radio voice right there.
Big man.
So anyway, I couldn't resist the opportunity to call up and congratulate you for highlighting one of my favorite people. And it's such a wonderful organization, Krissy, you picked up the reins. And actually, I don't even know that there were reins there, but you picked up the whole program. You brought it to such a unique level. And I'm just so very, very proud of you.
She picked up the rod.
Mike, thank you.
Well,
it's
listen, you know what? You have two beautiful children. You have your personal life. You have done such an incredible. I cannot tell you how proud I am of you. And also, thank you, Dennis, for bringing them on air and exposing the Jose Wejebe Foundation and the wonderful thing they do to all your listeners. Denny and I have been friends for what seems like forever, as your dad and you and I have been, Krissy.
Mhm.
And, I think this is just absolutely a great synergy. And I don't know. I think the thing that I really wanted to say, I don't know why I'm getting verklempt, but I'm proud of you, Krissy.
That's great,
Very,
Mike.
very proud of you.
That's great. And Mike, that I've been trying to get this episode going for quite a while. You and I have been discussing about getting, Krissy on board with the show, and to the point where we almost just said, screw it, we're just going to drive down there, but we could not make it down by the time for the end of the year hurricane party, which is when we originally, or end of hurricane season. Yeah, party, which is when we originally wanted to come down, because Mike was going to come down with me for that, but he had his trip to Tropic Star Lodge was right at the same time, and then we couldn't make it for a variety of reasons too. But when we heard that she was coming in town, we really jumped on this and really tried to make this happen. And thank you, Yanni, for coming in on a Friday. We don't record this on a Friday,
Thank
so
you,
it's
Yanni.
kind of cool.
Thank
So,
you, Yanni.
but we're absolutely enamored to have her here in the studio.
So let me ask you, Yanni, did you get your hair cut?
Yeah.
Dude, what is up
Head
with
matches
that?
his balls now.
You were like Fabio-ish.
Yeah.
and now you're like Mike Myatt-ish? What are you thinking?
Well,
It looks good on him, though.
yeah.
Well, it looks good on him, but there's time for that later.
He's a runner, so I think he just did it just to gain an extra mile an hour
No,
on
you
his
gotta
jogging.
shave the beard if you want
And,
more
I,
speed.
I have to say, I am so honored to have you stay in my house. And the first thing I did was get her boys 3 fishing rods, and when I get squid and shrimp, and
Yep.
I sent them on their way to go fishing.
Yeah, they got to the house. They're like, "So, mommy, can we go fishing?" And I was like,
I got you covered, kids.
I was like, I think
That's what
so.
those children smell like, is shrimp and squid.
Oh,
my
I smell like that too.
Yeah,
You
they're.
know, they really do.
Rods.
You can only
The kids are
imagine when they're
ready.
like 15. But Mike, I do want to and I'm gonna try and not get verklempt as well. But
It's okay, you can.
not having my dad here to see. I mean, I'm a daddy's girl, right? So everything you do, you want to make your dad proud.
Sure.
And my mom's a freaking rock star. She does not get an ounce of the credit that she deserves.
She lives
but-
in Maine, which I love.
Yes. But the show is not about her. And
Touche.
it is if I can't have my dad sitting here telling me that he's proud of me, having his friends telling me that they're proud of me, because God only knows the shit that he said to you about me. Oh my God!
You know
While I was
what?
in college and just everything, I was never. Well, I was terrible at one point, but I wasn't god
All
awful.
kids are at college age.
So I can only
Krissy,
imagine.
You aren't like Hurricane Krissy.
You have
Okay?
a forgiven past.
You were
College
the
kids.
apple of your dad's eye.
Yeah.
Your dad only spoke about you in positive terms most of the time, which is all you can hope for a parent to say.
Yeah.
Most is good.
But most
But,
of all,
yeah,
you
most is
carried
good,
his
but-
mission.
You know what? There's no other person in the world that we would have moved the legendary captain and crew event when Jose was getting inducted than for Krissy, because she was getting married that weekend. We moved it when I was still at IGFA.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
They were going to have it on Saturday and they moved it to a Friday because I was getting married. And I was like, this is one day I can't, like, I gotta be. I gotta be there on Saturday.
I have a note from the doctor.
And
We
they moved the
also,
whole event for me.
Really?
And
That's
then
awesome.
I went up there with one of our volunteers, and everyone there was like with Neil. Was like, oh, is this Dave? And I'm like, no, this is Neil. Oh, I thought you were getting married, Krissy. I'm like, no, this isn't my husband. My husband's back there with the whole family.
So, being the notary that I was, I married those guys that night. It wasn't really binding because it was just like a joke.
Because he
But
wasn't my husband.
We had a wonderful memorial for Jose up there, which I closed the entire building. And I remember the fire department came in and they said, "You've got way too many people in here.
Oh, for his
And
memorial?
way too many people outside.
Yeah.
And Mike, we have to do something about it." I said, "How about we just turn our backs tonight?" And he goes, "Noted." And they went out and they turned the backs because there was, it was a wonderful event. And the speakers highlighted the great stuff, the stuff that was important to Jose. And there wasn't like a drop in the reins. It's like Krissy picked it up and ran with it. No matter what she was going through in her life, she made it all happen. And I just want to say, Krissy, I'm so freaking proud of you.
Thank you,
And
That's
right
amazing.
now, I want to commit rum to all your events, but also would like to, in 2024, want to put another $5,000 in cash into your coffers.
Awesome.
Nice.
You are
Thank
amazing.
you, Mike.
And
I
Mike-
know that's not like gonna put you over the top or anything, but you know what you do for families, what you do for those kids, particularly during the holiday season. I look back at stuff like that, and I'm a softie. I cry at Publix commercials, okay? I mean, are you kidding me? You
Hallmark
dropped
season,
the
Mike.
turkey salt shaker in the mashed potatoes.
So Michael,
Fuck.
I have to tell you, this is Carolyn speaking right now. I met Krissy not very long ago, and I'm committed to her cause, and we are here helping and volunteering and whatever we have to do. And
Right.
she put me on fish I never thought I'd be on. She made me take a gun in the water and shoot something.
But what do you Carolyn? What do you think is special about going down on your foundation trip versus if you were just to go on a vacation to the Keys?
Good question.
Oh my God.
Huge question. So the biggest question for me is, or the answer is, when I'm going through cancer recovery, the only thing that makes me feel good is to pick up a fishing rod because my hands and feet and my hips, everything hurts from the medication I'm on every day.
Right.
And I have osteoporosis because of the medication, so I could fall and break my femur at any moment. So when I went on your trip, I forgot about everything. All that I did was want to fish and hang out.
But what do you think was it that made you forget?
I think it was camaraderie. I think it was the women out fishing. I think it was your father. I've watched his videos for years and years and years. I think it was wanting to help you at some point after we did our event. I think it was being a survivor. And, the hardest thing for me, I remember picking up a rod like a year and a half ago for a tournament, and I couldn't even hold the rod. It was IGFA. I was disqualified because I couldn't hold the rod. I was too tired. The girls held the rod tip up. One girl put my hand on the fishing reel, and we brought the fish in together. It was crazy. So that is the same feeling I had. That moment was when I went to your event.
That's great. Hey, listen, hey, Uncle Mike. there.
There's been a few events that Dennis and I have been at, and we don't really remember it the next day either, Dennis. Right?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all of them, Mike.
That's all right.
You know
Yeah.
what? And I just want to brag on Dennis a little bit because it's getting to the holiday season. You're never going to find a more generous, more giving guy than
Absolutely.
Dennis Friel and his wife Liz.
And his
They have
artwork.
such a wonderful family and what they do for the community. And this podcast, we're so honored to you play a small part in what Dennis is able to do, and he's able to bring people on, and it's not always about biggest fish, best fish, this and that. It's about connected by water.
100%.
And you know what? If you can find a finer gentleman than Dennis, please let me know. And let me know if he has a podcast, because, I'm ready to jump.
Hey, Mike, I'll be honest with you, man. This is episode 171, and it wouldn't have happened without you. And that is 100%.
And
certain.
Mike, you have done so much for this industry.
Well,
Whether it was when you were at
It's-
IGFA or your role at Papa's Pilar now.
Let me put it to you this way. So with the story he just told about your father's memorial, and there's the fire marshals there, and I'm sure there were plenty of other people in that room that probably could have handled the fire marshal. None of them was qualified to handle the fire marshal like Uncle Mike Myatt, right? 'Cause
No, Uncle Mike rocks.
when you need something done, you send Mike into the room, and he'll get it done. He'll handle it, and just maybe turn your back. Probably the perfect choice of words. And you
Beautiful.
always
Well-
have the perfect choice of words, Mike, and we appreciate you for that.
Well, you know what? I'm going to let you guys get back to it. But anyway, good luck with is Santa showing up tomorrow, Krissy?
Yes.
Yes.
We are so excited.
My
Yep.
kids, the boys, are so excited. They were
Going to be epic.
So we left. We left the keys today, and Santa was coming to their school today. So AJ was not happy with me, and I was like,
Okay.
"Honey, listen,
Trust mom.
Mommy's got Santa coming to her work party tomorrow." What, Mommy?
Oh,
You have
God.
Santa's number? I'm like, yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Mommy has Santa's number because Mommy's cool like that.
hmm
So you're going to have Santa at Mommy's own work party. And he's like, oh my God. So he's, he thinks I'm pretty cool right now.
What
But-
you don't know.
Well, you know
Wait, hold
what?
on, Michael.
You know
what you guys don't know is Santa went to the hangar to double check that he could have the sleigh and everything come in the other day. So Santa has been there.
Yeah.
All right. We got
Well,
proof.
Krissy, not only do the kids think you're cool, I think you're cool. And you know what? We'll be talking to you soon. Dennis, I love you best, brother.
Love you too, man.
And you guys have a great show, and happy holidays. And everyone that's listening out there, if you can go to www.josewejebefoundation.org, and they do great stuff. Go there, donate. It doesn't have to be a ton, whatever you can give. But, think about your kids, your healthy kids, your healthy family around you, and think about if it wasn't. So
Yeah. Right.
Go ahead, reach deep, put one hand on the TV, the other hand on your wallet, and Jesus, please give. Okay.
Very
Thank
good,
you,
very
Mike.
good, Mike.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
Jose
Michael.
Wejebe
That was
Memorial
awesome.
Foundation is definitely connected by water approved, so we appreciate that.
I
All right,
adore you,
guys,
my
love
dear.
all.
Thank
guys
you.
have a
Thanks,
wonderful-
Michael.
Is Carlene there?
She's
yes,
here.
she's right here.
It's right here.
Hey, Carlene, love you.
She said, Merry
How's
Christmas.
your babies? How's your babies?
Babies are good. We'll be there tomorrow.
Oh,
Oh, come to the
you don't
party.
want.
He's up
I
north.
wish I
Oh.
could. I mean, I am. No, I can't.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's way up north.
Personal obligations. I'm playing a skinny Santa at a. No, I'm really not. I am being a pig. I'm going out to the Colonial House tomorrow night for dinner with like 5 or 6 friends in the library. So
Awesome.
can't.
Nice talking
Well,
with you.
we'll
Have a
make
good
it.
time, Mike.
We'll
Yeah.
make a date
But
here
anyway,
soon, Mike.
Carlene, love you best. I still owe you a weekend in Key West. Not I owe you a weekend. I owe you and Mike a weekend in Key West. The other Mike.
All
All
right.
right.
Well, let me host you guys then. Let's make it a thing.
Make it a thing.
Make it a
Oh.
thing.
That's why you're the best, Krissy.
Yeah.
That's why I love you. All right, you guys have a great night.
Thanks for
Alright.
calling in
Thanks,
there, Mike.
Back to your
Good
stuff.
night, Mike.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Do we have any more really good questions for Krissy?
I see Bouncer Smith.
We do. We'll get to them in a little bit, though. What I want to do is not forget about what
Thanks,
we were
Carlene.
talking
The
about before
events.
Mike talked.
Yes.
Spoke. So let's continue with the events.
So, yeah, January 28th is our music festival. We touched on that. My dad was an avid musician. One of his best friends, who is also the first guest on the show, Terry Cassidy, the very first show, started it, and it's grown. The first year we raised like $2,500, and last year we raised like $35,000.
Wow.
So that's growing, and it's a really cool thing where like I can call people who have donated years past and be like, hey, it's that time of year. Yeah, sure, we'll send you it doesn't even requiring like, hey, let me tell you what the foundation has been up to. What have we done lately? It requires essentially like as a as my job as executive director, I do the fundraising and I do the programs and everything else. But as a fundraiser, you're almost you got to sell them your mission. I don't need to sell them anymore. Then March 2nd, we have Fish for Jose, which originally started out as a social media movement, is go out and do something and fish for Jose. And then we had, an event in the Keys to honor that whole thing. Well, now it's just turned into a backyard dinner event at my house, my dad's house. Every single 90% of the interviews you've ever seen on Spanish Fly were all in the backyard. It's a beautiful, very special place in the Keys, and we sell out months ahead of time.
That's great.
For that event, and we have guest speakers that come. Carter Andrews, Steve Huff, Stu App. They've all came, and we have somebody do a Jose story, and then we have recipients for the foundation that come down and do and then speak on behalf of their story. We put together a little video. We have a live auction, and it's a beautiful event and a beautiful venue, and we keep it small. It's 120 people. We'll never make it
small.
Well, it's not small, but when
Gina, hang in there.
That's not small.
it's not small, but it's not.
Get another drink of Papa's Pilar. Hold on.
She's
There you
got-
go.
Oh,
Listen,
I
cannot be held responsible for what the bartender does.
Papa
She's
Pilar.
on her
I
own.
thought I had Tourette's.
Listen, you guys
that
think
is
that
not
you
small.
guys think that
120
Carlene's over there
people
being quiet.
in your
She is
backyard?
methodically plotting
Against
against
me.
all of us. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I need to hit that one up a little
Well,
bit more.
It will be
had-
Get that one
121
going a
now
little
'cause I'm coming
more.
down.
I had when my husband and I got married, we lost count at 240 people.
Oh my God.
And we had it in our backyard. So compared to that, it's small.
So-
and then we're doing a shark tournament, April 5th, 6th, and 7th. And
Perfect for you, Gina.
Thank you for
That
taking
would
the
be
reins on that one.
with
Okay.
a capital N-O.
And in regards to shark tournaments and shark fishing and all the rules and regulations and what people have to say about healthy ecosystem, too many sharks, the Jose Wejebe Spanish Fly Memorial Foundation wants absolutely nothing to do with implementing and being a part of any kind of rules or regulations in any of that. However, what we want to be a part of is gathering data. I think in years to come, we could grow the Spanish fly angling community in a way where we could document shark depredations, shark interactions, and submit that information in an easy way, because fishermen, listen, my dad was one, I married one, my boyfriend is one. They are,
Does your husband know about your boyfriend? No, I'm just kidding.
no, my husband's dead.
No,
So
apologies. I didn't know about that.
no, you're
apologies.
fine. and I'm not trying to like
We
that
all
was
good.
met,
It's all
not.
good.
so I don't know the backstory.
So I'm so happy that you're talking about this tournament, because here at Connected by Water, we started speaking out about shark depredation years ago. Like, actually, and I don't say this to try to toot our own horn or anything, because I'm very happy it's very frontline conversation at this point. But when Art and Skip would come on for our tournament talks early on, and we had Patrick Price on before he passed away from COVID, and to bring him on and to talk about a lot of the things that were happening up in Jupiter. And obviously we fought a hard fight, lost a battle because of a lot of new laws that were implemented, but it seems to be some things resurrecting and turning around. The one battle that we always faced was two things. So the scientists that were fishing to saying, oh, there's no shark problem, they were not fishing in the right areas. They were not asking the people that actually fished in the right areas what the problem was, or
Right.
they could care less about what real fishermen had to say about the matter, right? But the other thing that we faced was basically we didn't have any data to back up the argument. So that's what your tournament's all about. And
Yes.
I find that really refreshing that you said that.
Yes, we are not trying to listen. My, and at the end of the day, this organization, it's not about me. It's not about what my beliefs are. It's not about what any of our board. It's the end of the day. This is about Jose, and my dad was a man of science, and he said, "Well, what does science say? What does the data say? And let's make the best decision off of that." I can tell you what I see as a fisherman, but I did a lot of heavy digging, and a lot of the stock assessments that have been done specifically, I was looking specifically more into the Florida Keys area, was that our government would pay longliners to document their bycatch during like a certain time period. Sharks migrate. This is the same government that issues that you have to have a migratory species permit in order to target these animals. So why would you only collect data off of a migratory animal during a certain period of time?
When they're not expected to be in that area.
Right, exactly.
Why wouldn't you do it over a long course of time? And why wouldn't you ask for the help of the individuals who are on the water every single day who don't have anything to benefit from it? Except, I mean, like, yes and no. They're not. Listen, the longliners were getting paid like cash money to report their bycatch of something that they've already like caught and something that's already dead.
They're looking for the money. They don't have the passion for that.
Right.
So
Total money.
So
Total
let's Republican, Democrat, independent. At the end of the day, like, listen, we're anglers. We make our money off the water, so we're gonna do what. Just give us the data. Give us some science and make an
And we're all
educated
connected by
decision off
water.
of it.
It's all about being connected.
Realistically speaking, when it comes down to a lot of these things, when you talk about giving money for someone to do things, anybody can basically fund anyone out of an opinion if they want to. For example, let's say that someone came to my show and said, "Louis, Connected by Water, we love the work that you're doing," right? And let's say that we're going to talk about a lot of stuff on the Everglades. And they say, "Listen, we're going to give you $10,000 a year, and we love the work that you're doing with the Everglades," right? And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool, $10,000 a year." And they're like, "All we need you to do is just say these things on your episode every time," right? I'm like, "All right, cool, I'll just say these things in the episode." And it all sounds like nice things to say, right? And then at the end of the year, they're like, "You did a great job. We're going to give you $50,000 now," right? Like, okay. Cool, right? And all we need you to do is say these things, but a few more of these things. Then you're getting paid, right? And it keeps going cyclical like that. And it turns into $100,000. And the second you go off script, they pull you and you blackball you.
Right.
The second you go off script. And that's how it works. That's how a lot of this works. And it's very unfortunate that that's what it comes down to. But it's going to come down to money with guys like that.
It does.
And the
It totally
research like
comes
that. And it's
down
in a
to money.
manipulated circumstance.
Yeah.
And that's the shitty part.
Yeah. And I've had this conversation, in the Keys right now. So many people are getting priced out. Even if you own your own home, can you afford the insurance? Can you afford the property taxes? And I was talking to Chuck, and I was like, where I don't want to be, in my 60s, making it just to live in the Keys. I would rather have a shack in, I don't know, somewhere south, and a place somewhere north, and just simple living. I don't need a lot. And you start to ask yourself the question, like, how much money does somebody really need, and where do you turn to say, like, I'm going to do bad stuff for money?
Yeah,
And
it's listen, that's human nature, and that's the question that we've all faced as humans since the beginning of time.
Yep.
Right? Where's your breaking point? Where's everybody's breaking point? What keeps you morally correct? That's a really tough call. But the thing is about it, though, is that there is a greater circumstance at hand when we're speaking about conservation and preservation and natural resources and controlling our fisheries. There's a
Safer
lot of money to be
leases,
had.
everything,
There's
like,
if
yeah.
it goes one way or the other. And it's unfortunate that a lot of people are just completely misinformed and they don't understand everything that's going on, and they'll blindly just say, hey, yeah, we want to save the Everglades or keep it flowing south. It's like,
Well,
okay,
that's where the
no problem. We
education
all agree
piece
on that,
comes
right?
in.
But
Yeah.
what are the details of that? What does that all mean specifically?
what does that all entail?
Or no, we want to save the sharks. No, sharks are endangered. And really, maybe they are in other places, but not here.
Let's go
You
to
know what I mean? Yeah,
let's
it's
like
there's
refocus
different things.
to Asia, and like let's
Yeah.
and I think that's with so everybody said, Chris, you need to do your dad's Jose Wejebe. You have a fishing foundation. Like, how do you guys not have a tournament yet? It's been 10 years. How do you not have a tournament? I said, well, number one, my dad hated tournaments.
Yeah.
He said it sucked all the fun out of fishing. Which, I've fished a few tournaments and I kind of agree with him. Like, I kind of like just,
I stopped tournament fishing.
yeah, like let's just catch
I'll
what's
be
ever
like,
eating.
If I'm going to fish a tournament, it's going to be like a fun one, like yours. You know,
Yes,
like
big
something
ladies.
like
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
but
and I'm always down,
He's
but
right about that.
he said
Sucks the fun out of
he
it.
said I didn't like the person that I became when I was fishing tournaments. So he stopped tournament fishing. So I was, again, just going back to like this foundation is all about my dad. So what would Jose do? And I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to do another bonefish tournament. I didn't want to do and then you do and you get so criticized on like, oh well, all these sharks are eating these permit, all these bonefish are getting eaten after you release them, or you're killing all these mahi and blah blah blah. So many people have so many things to say. So I was like, you know what? Let's do a bull shark tournament. What's gonna kill a bull shark? Another bull shark.
Gina,
Right.
let's
Do it, Gina. No, Gina couldn't
will.
do it. No, Gina
I
wanted
will.
to kill. She wanted to kill a
went to
nurse shark.
the
spearfish that
Ciccolini, man, you got to
mother
watch out
Ciccolini.
for her.
No.
Oh, by the
no,
way,
she's
if
got no
you-
balls when it comes to a
By the
bull
way,
shark.
if you ever want eggplant parmigiano, you want pasta, you want whatever,
Where's the
Gina
food
Ciccolini.
tonight?
Yeah, you should have brought her with you.
Oh, you didn't
That's all
tell
right.
me to
Next
bring
time,
food.
next time.
She's a
next time.
cooker.
Listen, all right. I need the table for a second.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
have a few. No, that's all right.
Do your questions.
Questions.
I don't even know if we're going to get to these questions at this point. I do have to rifle through the questions, right? But I
Fast.
just want to say my piece on a few things. Okay? Before the show is over, and I don't get a chance to. All right? I love that you're here, and I'm honored that you're here. And I
Thank
mean
you.
that from the bottom of my heart. It really does mean a lot to me that you came here and you sat at the table.
Appreciate that,
It
Thomas.
really, really means a lot because, all right, we're talking about your dad all night long. And you notice that I didn't even introduce your dad because the man needs no introduction, right? And everybody knows that. The name Wejebe is just, it's ubiquitous in the fishing world, and it doesn't need to
Big
be
word.
explained, right? Yeah, it doesn't need to be explained, and he doesn't need to be introduced, so neither do you. Okay, and it really is my great honor that you're in this room with me right now, and thank you, ladies, for coming and just
Carlene.
being around us,
Of
and,
course.
and hanging out with us, right? You cannot go very far, especially in the state of Florida, in the fishing world, without hearing something about your dad every week,
Every day.
right? And it goes so far and beyond, and that truly defines the meaning of the word legacy and legend. And that truly is what your father embodies wholeheartedly, okay? And I want to say that from someone who idolized him as a kid growing up watching him on TV, helped me see a path for greatness in making their way in industry that can be daunting and cliquey at times. And he inspired me to basically go against the grain and make me realize that things were possible. Okay. So as you know, that Derek Redwine is one of my best friends, and I love him to pieces, and I spend time with him and Corey a lot, especially recently. We created that painting over there together for ICAST. This year we worked on that project, and it really was like one of the highlights of my career was to be able to spend time with Derek and work on that project with him. But in doing so, one of the things that we did together at night, I'm staying at their house, he turned on the episodes that he recorded with your dad, and we watched them together. It was such a special moment for me. You know what I mean? To share that with Derek, because I know Derek loves him so much, and to be able to have that moment with him, and Derek explaining to me all the little things that are going on behind the scenes of the TV show that the viewer doesn't realize what was really going on, and that was a horrible moment. We just made this up and made something happen, like things like that. But through camera tricks, none of that is like seen to the audience, just explaining all these stories. And, you're catching the bull reds and all the different things. It was just really, really, really cool. So, it's just nice to be able to at least, although I never got the chance to be with your dad, I get the chance to be with you, and I get the chance to be with Derek, and I enjoy that, and I appreciate you, and thank you for that opportunity. I want to tell you about something that happened last week, and I hesitated, and I actually asked Derek about this. I said, should I tell her this story? And he goes, oh, it's your call, right? And I don't want to say this, but I believe that there are no coincidences and accidents in life, and I believe that there's a lot of meaning, underlying meaning in everything that we do. And I truly believe that. Right down to the fact of just connected by water in itself and what that means to us, and to us, the term, it means everything.
Huge.
If you really analyze it, to us, at the end of the day, it just means everything, right? So I went fishing last week with my friend Elmer, and he is a guide, and he lives in Everglades City, and he has been on the show. Right? And he was on a show that we got so deep with Elmer. Elmer was the first show that I cried on, and it was like episode 120 something, right? And just because Elmer and I just really, really connected. He's just such a good dude. Like, he's really, Captain Elmer Pilone is one of the best guys that I've ever met in my entire life. So we went fishing for tarpon, little poons, like they're biting. He's like, they're snapping, come down, right? So I came down, and we're leaving his house, and we're coming by, and he's like, hey man, so what's going on with the podcast? Like, who you got coming on? I'm like, oh, I'm so excited, because next week I have Krissy Wejebe coming on. She's going to be in town, and we've been trying to get this episode together for the longest time, right? And she's coming in, right? And he goes, really? He goes, you're kidding me. I go, no. And just as I'm like, talking to him, and so he goes, really, Krissy Wejebe's coming on your show? I go, yeah, she is. And we're passing a spot in Everglades City that would have been related to that situation right at that very moment. And I really got goosebumps that came over to me, because there are no accidents in life. And I believe that the episode that I recorded with Elmer was called Closer to God. And the fact that I was with Elmer, the fact that your name come up right at that very second, and we passed that memorial spot of your father, really kind of like didn't seem coincidental to me. And I just wanted to share that with you here on the show.
It's so incredible.
That it really kind of means a lot to me. All of it.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why I'm telling you that story. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to tell you that story.
That story was relevant to you at that moment, which is a huge moment.
Yeah, and I just wanted to just going back to everything, like it means a lot that you're here and the whole thing like that. And I just didn't believe that, we're in full support of what you're doing. We're in full support of carrying on your father's legacy, and you have Connected by Water by your side. I guess ultimately is what I wanted to say.
I appreciate that,
So,
Derek.
yeah.
Yeah, it's I've been so many people have been like, "Oh, you've never gone." I've never gone to like where my dad died or anything. Like why do I want to go to where my dad died, where I can like be where he lived? And lately I've been like, maybe it would be like a good thing for me. So it's something that I've been talking to Flip about lately. Of like, you know what, so I have like fundraising season. So, from, we have an event in December, January, March, and April, and he gets done hunting in April. And he's like, I'd love to bring your boys, fishing
Flip
on
was
the
your
air.
dad's friend, right?
Yeah. He was Flip, Stu, and Lefty, and Harry Spear were my dad's mentors. Everybody's getting older, and it doesn't even matter if we're getting older, because shit, as we've seen, you can crash in a plane any day. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be cancer. It doesn't need to be, old age. You can just go like that. So I've been, I've kind of gone through my whole own journey of, my husband passed away in 2019, and then I had a kid, and then I went through brain surgery 3 times. And now, since all that stuff is kind of, the kids are, I don't know if you can ever say life's getting back to normal, because what is normal?
There is no normal.
I'm not really sure.
Normal.
I recently, like, talking to Flip, and I was like, Flip, I don't want to lose this opportunity. And he said, let's do April, May. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll go and see that whole spot. And it's just all so heavy, man. Like, trying to explain to my kids, like, no, this is my dead dad, not your dead dad. And all of that goes into everything. But I think at the end of the day is just we've, in the fishing community, I don't know how it is in other work-related communities, but I can tell you in this industry, we work together, but we're family too.
Exactly
You
what
guys.
I'm gonna jump in and go Pompano Beach, Deerfield Beach. We are a fishing community, and we support you. You support us.
Yeah.
And you know what? We are here for each other.
Yeah.
So
And-
that's all that matters.
Yeah. And knowing that is a special thing. Really being able to, like, look over your shoulder and know that, like, listen, I know this bitch Carolyn over here has got my back. I know Gina,
That's me.
she's Jersey, and she's gonna
Jersey
get
always has your
stuff.
back.
She's gonna get stuff done.
She
And,
doesn't fish quietly.
and the red wines, like, anytime I ever need anything, Mike Myatt, I can call. Like, how many people like have a direct line to
Right.
like Mike Myatt, and we're like texting at 9:30 at night. He's like, I'm crying, and I'm like, I am too.
The uniqueness of the industry, the uniqueness of this. I even sometimes hesitate to call it an industry, because it's more
It's more of a family.
yeah, it's more of exactly.
Yeah.
It's
I mean
not an
that
industry,
really
it's a
kind of
family.
embodies like what kind of what we were talking about with, like, Connected by Water means
Yep.
everything, and I think it is. There's you find this in other industries, but I think more so in this.
I've
industry
been
more than any.
in this seat and that seat. It's all about the community. It's all about community. So
It's I really I don't want to say I was handed like a poop sandwich, because I really wasn't. I think one of the questions that I saw on Facebook that somebody asked, and I don't want to answer it
We'll
beforehand.
answer. We'll ask it now.
Let's
Right.
ask it.
Yeah,
Okay.
do it.
Let's just do that. Let's just get
Let's
let's
just,
get into the
wrap
question.
it up.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot
People
about your
put
dad.
these questions out there.
Yeah, there's a lot
let's
about
go-
your dad in these
let's go
questions, and
through
I
it.
think it might help summarize up
All right, let's do it.
a lot of that. So let's start with the first one. Alden Hames says, "What is the one lesson your dad taught you that is the driving force behind your passions in life, and what keeps you grounded to those values?"
I think it's a few things. I think one big lesson that my dad, well, it was whenever I complain about everything, he'd be like, Kristen. My given name is Kristen, and my middle name is Renee. So, everybody calls me Krissy, but when I'm in trouble, my parents call me Kristen Renee. And Kristen Renee, do you have any idea about how hard it is for other people? There's always someone out there that has it 10,000 times harder than you.
Yeah.
So even after my dad crashed and burned in a plane crash, I remember sitting there staring. It was the day after, like at my grandmother's house, like staring at the stucco ceiling, saying, "You know what? At least he was a good person.
Mm-hmm.
At least I had a dad.
Good stuff.
At least he loved me." And I think the driving force of what keeps me going is that. And again, I mentioned it in the beginning, my mom does not get the credit that she deserved, but both my parents didn't have anything. I mean, in Cuba, my dad had everything, and then that was all stripped from them, and then they had nothing. And my mom grew up in the south side of Chicago, and it was rough for her. And I think knowing how hard my parents worked to give me the life that I had and that I have makes me want to work harder to continue to give that to not only my children, but to share that with like-minded people.
Not like it's any consolation losing your father. You know what I mean? But some kids do lose their father, and their father doesn't leave a legacy behind like yours did for you.
I know.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I have some amazing, I really do have amazing friends, and some of my friends, like, their dad
Not
was
so
a
amazing.
drug addict their
Yeah.
entire life, and he ended up offing himself. So it's like, while you're still sad that your dad's dead, it's like, oh, that's, he, and just trying to like manage all those feelings of like, but that's still your dad, but still like, there's just, man, life is just so heavy sometimes.
It is. And
You know?
what? And you know what? What's crazy? Tomorrow is gonna be fucking. Excuse my French.
You're good.
Cool.
I love it. That's when
And I've
the
been holding
podcast is
back.
getting really
I
good.
fucking.
When Carolyn starts
Let's do
dropping
it.
F-bombs, that's when you know it
I
starts
was
getting really
holding
good.
back.
You are. So we got.
No kidding.
We got Christmas trees.
Because I've been
we
known
got
to be
planes.
the F-bomber.
You're the F bomber. You're the shark catching
All
F
right,
bomber.
what's the next question?
We got
Question.
Bouncer
Let's
Smith,
Oh,
the great Bouncer Smith, asking a question.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, you want to? Oh, look at you! You're like Little Miss Plug. All right, hold it up to the camera. Get
Bouncer
Bouncer
Smith.
Smith book on Amazon.com right now.
I love him
It's
right
the
now.
perfect Christmas gift for
Oh,
all
you know
the
what? He
angler
didn't sign
in
it
your
for
life.
me. Oh.
Yeah, it's
Sign
a
it
signed
to you.
copy. That's a signed copy. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
So, all right,
Careful
Bouncer,
with that.
Bouncer
Put that
asks,
back.
what type of trips did Jose like the best? Kids, military veterans, just general fishing, or taking out trophy or tournament anglers.
I'm going to interject for 1 second. I watched an episode when he had bladders for fuel. He went over to Isla Mujeres
Mm-hmm.
in the 34 CVs.
Come on, Krissy. Tell her how.
Isla Mujeres.
The island of women. Isla
What did
Mujeres.
she call
Isla
Isla
Mujeres, they went
is the
over there
island-
in quads.
Yep.
And
he
a
had
34.
He had a
Mujeres?
bladder. It's called the island of women. Why? because there's huge sailfish there.
How did you
Friggin'
say
crazy.
the word?
East Harris. Oh, she's laughing at me.
Anyways, what's your question?
What kind of fishing did your father like to? Who did he like taking fishing the most? Was it kids? Was it veterans? Was it just taking out an angler? or-
I think my dad's favorite thing to do, honestly, is so this may not exactly answer the question, but I think it kind of will. I never knew what a good fisherman my dad was until I started fishing with other people.
Mm.
And I started fishing with other people. I'm like, why aren't we catching anything? So my dad always went for what was biting. He didn't care if it was tarpon or barracuda, if it was bonita or sailfish. He went for what was eating at that time.
The tug is the drug.
And I think my dad just I think he appreciated like newbies in a sense. Like he didn't want the snobs, like not the biggest, oh, we need a big tarpon, we need a lot of sailfish. The last show that we did together was on my 28th birthday, and we were catching kingfish, ceros, and bonita, and we had rescheduled the show twice because we had gotten blown out because of wind, and I had gotten in so much trouble at work because that's a whole nother story. Because my dad basically made a phone call to I used to work at Dolphin Research Center, and
There's a bomb in the building. No.
no, there's not a bomb in the building. Just my
Don't use
boss,
the B word.
my boss at the time hated me because I was who I was, because my mom had worked there for 18 years, and anyways,
And your dad was who he was.
yeah. So anyways, he got me out of something to go fish the show. And I was like, "Oh, cool, Dad! Another mackerel, another kingfish." And he goes, "Tim, bananas." And Tim was one of the cameramen, and Tim Schick, and he passed away from COVID, long haul COVID. And but we had a safe word, bananas. So if I ever, I did give my dad a very hard time, and Derek Redwine can attest to that. I think that's one of the things that kept my dad so humble, is that all of his friends were so brutal on him. He'd come back from a boat show and he'd be so cool and blah blah blah, and we're like, Jose, you're still down here with the rest of us.
Safe word bananas.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, cool, Dad, another kingfish." And he's like, "Bananas, Tim." Tim's like, "Okay," and he turned off the camera and he looks at me and he goes, "Krissy, you need to look at this fish right now, and look at this. Watch how I turn it. You see how iridescent this fish is?" "Yes, Dad." "Did you appreciate that fight?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "And who do you think you are?" I was like, "I don't know." And he goes, "You need to appreciate every single fish at the end of the line, no matter what species or how big." Wow. And I was like, "I got it." He's like, "Okay, you ready?" We're like, "Ready." He's like, "Okay, we're good, Tim." And I was like, turn on the camera. I was like, "Dad, look how beautiful this fish is. Isn't that remarkable,
I hate
honey?"
kingfish.
Just
You
like,
just made
how...
me look at it in a whole different way
But
now.
you know, like, think about all the people that have to go freshwater fishing. I'm sorry for everybody out there, but
Questions?
you know, it's he had a way of humbling you and making I don't know if I completely answered that
I
question.
think that's a way of answering the next question,
The
Okay.
next one.
which is, what is the biggest lesson you've learned from a fishing mistake?
There you go.
a fishing mistake.
Or could that answer that question?
I mean, I think yes, but from the same shoot, we did have a pretty cool experience where there's some resident tarpon in the Keys, and this was in October, so there still are tarpon in. Don't tell everybody because we're on a podcast right now. Anyways, there was a special tarpon somewhere in the Keys, and I had hooked it, and the way I had hooked it was completely
Unethical?
No, it was definitely the tarpon was under our boat, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, what do you think if I just drop it over the side?" And he goes, "You know what, honey? You don't know unless you try. You don't know unless you go," kind of thing. And I was like, "Okay." Swung the live pilchard right over the side of the boat. Big ass tarpon came right up, ate it, ran with it, jumped 3 times. I didn't bow to the king, lost it, but. I think that was like a big lesson of just like, you don't know unless you try it. You don't know unless you go. Like, so many people say like, oh no, that'll never work. And, my dad was like, that tarpon's seeking shelter underneath our boat. Like,
Right.
He's a resident tarpon. He knows, like, he's not going to go eat that live pilcher. But he's like, you know what, honey? You don't know unless you try. So
Right.
go ahead and try. And that tarpon ate it. So, if you're ever having doubts on like, will this work? Well, if it's not, I mean, you might as well just try.
Yep. There you go.
He gave you the
What's the worst that
encourage
can
to keep-
happen? You get your
trying.
bait back?
We are in Christmas season, holiday
Christmas season.
right? And Amy Tanner asks, favorite or first childhood Christmas holiday memory with your dad to tell during the holidays?
Favorite a holiday Christmas story to tell with my dad? I don't. Honestly, the only thing that comes to mind is it's kind of traumatic for me, guys. So bear with me. My dad, actually, you know what? Everybody's seen it on TV. He wore briefs. And you guys are lucky the briefs that you saw, or maybe not so lucky, I don't know. They were all intact. We'd wake up early on Christmas morning and just my mom going, Jose, no. I bought you new underwear. But those aren't comfortable. Lynn, I don't want to wear the Jose, I'm sorry, but this is just ridiculous. Put on those underwear. And I think that was like a common, like when I woke up early, that was a common thing of like, Jose, put on underwear that don't have holes in them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry. I wish I could give
That's okay.
her
I
a
mean-
better, more fishy,
That's
like
okay.
understanding.
That's a fantastic holiday memory. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Like, oh God.
All right, so the last question is a 3-part question
Okay.
from our good friend Adrian Gray.
Oh,
All right,
is it heavy?
the beloved Adrian. No, it's just nice. If you could have dinner with any 3 people, alive or dead, who would they be?
Wow, that's a loaded question.
That's what Adrian asked. Yep.
I would say alive or dead.
Let's choose one live and then one dead.
Carolyn or Gina.
I'm sorry.
Just kidding. I would love to have dinner with Eminem,
Mm-hmm.
my dad.
I have a funny story to share with you off air.
Okay. And who else? Eminem, my dad, and I'd probably like throw in maybe like Stevie Ray Vaughan or Santana
All right.
or something in there. Just yeah.
Love me some Stevie Ray, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. He also asks, do you still enjoy living in the Keys?
I can tell you, what breaks my heart about the Keys is that it's being priced out
Priced out of paradise?
for even people that own their homes.
Yeah.
Which what absolutely breaks my heart. And a lot of our politicians and city planners are clearly bought and paid for. However,
Until they go off script, right?
whatever. However, what I will tell you is that with children, I completely understand older individuals who have lived in the Keys for 30, 40 years and leaving. There's no better place to raise your children. I had an absolutely remarkable childhood. My mother was a dolphin trainer. My dad was a fisherman. I am able to offer my children the same. I have an amazing relationship with a lot of places in the Keys and obviously in the fishing industry and just off our back porch. And being able to have kids that are so in tune with just the sunrise and the sunset is a very special thing. And that's something that you can't offer your kids in many other places.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
You know, as a person that grew up in South Florida and spent a lot of time in the Keys, especially as a kid, I always wondered that, like, man, I would, when you're younger and you fish a lot and you do all this stuff like that, it's like, I want to live in the Keys full time. Never had the opportunity to do so. It's interesting to hear that perspective, you know, from you especially. So I just want to kind of wrap this up a little bit by, you know, again, reiterating what I said earlier about how nice it was having you in, having all you guys in. And, you know, the Connected by Water spirit embodies everything that you talk about today. It's about giving, it's about community, it's about everybody being connected by water, blurring the lines of politics and just, you know, seeing people for who they are and, you know, understanding what it means to make a living through your passion. And, you know, certainly you're doing that, you're keeping your father's passion alive. But I think in doing so, you're finding your own passion. That's what I see. And I think that is, you know, inherently obvious, that I know that you do this in your father's name, but it's all you. And I see that as being your legacy as well. And I really, you know, Mike said he was proud of you, but I'm proud of you too, because you're doing a really good job.
And as a local person, and Gina, who would ever known I would meet you?
I know.
And want to be fierce to like support what you do, and we are supporting what you do tomorrow. It's like nothing for us.
I read the mission statement, and then when I met her and your family, I was like, I'm in. I'm 100% in.
So
Nice.
we are here, and we want to be your
We're
girls.
here for you.
We're here for you.
And I appreciate it, ladies. And you know, it's just, listen, my dad was a big, one of his big things was like, yay team.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he was the captain, in order to land that fish, it took him guiding his angler to land that fish. It was always a team effort, you know, and this whole organization, this whole mission, everything has been a team effort. This is not just me. Like I can do this. I can be the mouth box and everything, but
We are committed to your cause. So.
it really you know, I think the work that the foundation does and the people that decide to be a part of it and support us and Spanish Fly and everything in general, it's a team effort. And you know, you can ask Derek, yay team. And you know, we the show is again, it's a small effort, and I did get my degree in film and video production, so I do know how to, you know, convert an MXF file into an MPEG-4 and upload it
Good for you,
onto
'cause I don't.
Because I know we don't know.
and upload it onto YouTube. So, you know, all those
I'll send you the
17
pictures
years
and you
of
figure it out.
shows I've been converting and uploading, and the shows will be on YouTube, on Spanish Fly TV here
can't wait.
soon, a little bit by bit. Like, be patient with me. I'm a one-woman show. And then we have the
You
brands.
are not a one. You are
can
not.
do it.
Well, I have a huge team. But when it comes
Yeah,
down,
you're the only one converting video.
yeah. Who else is going to upload this stuff? And
that's
can
not
you
my
figure
thing.
out how to get Audio 3 out of there? Because that has the Apple tracks on there. So if I can delete that file while converting all of it, yeah, I can do that. It's just it's like I can do a lot of this stuff, Dennis. It's just. There's so much stuff that only I can do, and like you understand all this talk.
Look at him.
Yeah,
He's over
he's
there.
like, yeah, I can.
Mr. Media guy.
How much do you cost?
The
Too much
coolest-
out of my range.
I have to tell you,
But
we went down to see you like in July, and you just literally drove
July. Yeah.
first week. You literally drove up to see me today. I left a key under the mat. I'm like, take my house. And the boys are like, "Oh, we're gonna fish. You have rods?" I'm like, "Here's 3 rods.
I
Here's
have
like
2 rods in my car right now for them.
they went down to the beach. They were so pumped.
I'm
You
like,
brought them rods. I was like,
I
Ryder
brought
doesn't
3
hug.
rods, shrimp.
Ryder, my 3-year-old does not hug anybody.
He
You
kept
brought
right-
him a rod, and he was hugging you.
he was
I was
hugging
like,
me.
there you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
So if people want to support the Jose
Yes, do that.
Memorial Wejebe Memorial Foundation independendly of these events, how do they do so?
So you can visit www.josewejebe is spelled WEJEB as in boy foundation.org, or you can Google any darn kind of pronunciation you can come up with and it'll pop up. You can also find us on Facebook, on Instagram, and you can reach out to me directly at Krissy with a K, Krissy at josewejebefoundation.org. And if you really want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of Dennis.
Yep.
And he
Or
can get a hold of me.
we can build
or
that
get a
bridge.
hold
Or
of Carolyn.
Carolyn,
Or
or
Carolyn.
Gina.
And
you know what?
There's a lot of people that, and I'm all about just, nobody's too big or too small to help with this whole mission. My dad was never a snob when it came to somebody saying, like, oh, Jose, I have a great fishing spot. He would never say like, oh, you're fishing a John boat. Like, if you were fishing a John boat, my dad was more apt to be like, oh, you're fishing a John boat? Not a sport
He'd
fisher?
probably tell you we could probably get the more tarpon that way.
Hey,
So
I want to jump on your boat.
He
Like,
was
screw
so
the
into
sport fisher.
tarpons.
Yeah.
Like, I'd
From every
rather
show I
jump
saw.
on that than go on.
I have to tell you, I fell in love with your dad years before I met you. Why? His shows were about fishing. His shows were about showcasing local artists.
Not about the ones with him stripping down in his underwear.
No,
Okay, good. Sweet.
I never saw those. His shows were about
I did see a few
empowering
of those.
people to fish and learn how to fish and learn how to do artwork and make this beautiful stuff, Dennis, that you do. It was always about empowering people to fish and do
Yes.
things.
Giving them
That's-
the tools and the education that they
Yes.
need to be
That's
responsible
exactly
fishermen.
Oh,
what he
by the
did.
way, he was a smart ass. So,
A little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Your dad was a smart ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up.
Yeah, we're going to wrap this up. This is amazing.
So support the Jose Wejebe Memorial Foundation. Support Krissy and all the work that she's doing. Support all the volunteers and all the work that
We're
they're
just
doing
here to hang out and
to help
volunteer.
out. And we're gonna do this sleigh party again next year.
Oh, yes, we are.
So
Tomorrow is
right.
the big day.
I hope so.
yeah, and
Thank
we're
you,
gonna
Mom.
make sure it's gonna be a success. I'm excited for tomorrow night. And thank you again for
I
giving
just,
me your time.
Thank you guys. I mean, honestly, and just to wrap it up, not to be super sappy or anything, but I remember when my dad died and thinking like, well, what the F am I going to do now? Because my whole plan, my whole college plan, like everything was like, I'm going to work for my dad. And it's I don't know if I exactly chose that this is what I wanted to do. I think it was kind of like presented it to me and I said, okay, I'll do it. But I want to thank everybody in the industry. I want to thank every person who has been a part of the foundation, who we've brought along, who have trusted me in, like, hey, let me show you, like, a good time. And to be able to, like, take a step back and look at it all and say, like, you know what? With Mike Myatt saying, like, I'm proud of you, Krissy, that means so much. But really being able to take a step back and saying, like, I'm proud of me too.
Good.
And that's, I just crossed the bridge into 40, and I know I'm not young. I know I'm not old.
You're still young.
Yeah, well,
We're
young, but
young.
Hello.
I
would smack you.
But you're carrying on your father's legacy.
But it is a
In your
remarkable it is a remarkable thing to be able to do what I have been doing, and I just honestly feel incredibly grateful to be able to do it. If that makes any sense.
100%
It does.
Absolutely.
And you know, you got some girls like around here who will help you.
And the support that comes behind that for you.
Nice.
100%.
We're hanging in the wings right
All
here.
right. Well, here's to a good event tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Here's to a great
Cheers.
event
All right.
tomorrow.
We love
All
the
right.
dark rum.
We'll
We
end
love
this
it.
like we
Boom.
always do. Your ego is not your
Thank
amigo.
you, Dennis
right?
Friel.
No.
Always do your best at the end of the day, just like God do the rest. Do not ever forget
100% agree.
that no matter where we are,
Pick
no
it up.
matter what we're doing, we are all
Connected by water.
Connected by
Thank you.
Connected by water.
Connected by
And
water.
friendship.
all right.
All the same.